props that you will need for Sports Day.
Okay, Sports Day in terms of planning, pretty simple really. We might want to think about what else is going on in the sporting world. It could link this into that kind of activity. You might want to think about how much space there is.
Be a good activity to do outside,
if at all possible, on a lovely day. That might be a lot of fun.
We're going to use the small ball as part of our warm-up. The first thing we're going to do is ask participants just to see how it feels. You can use it to roll. You might want to revisit the idea of a massage. Again, you can support your participant with this, so you could massage their back for them, you could massage their lower legs, any part that they can't reach. And we can also use it again to help warm up our hands, so it's a bit of a hand gym. You can practice squeezing. Again, resistance. You might want to see where else you could squeeze the ball, so you could give your participant a bit of a challenge. Okay, where else could you squeeze it? Okay, I can squeeze it here, I can squeeze it here. It's about asking their muscles to start engaging by keeping something in its place. So you might under your arm, hold it for a little bit, and just start working with the ball to create some movement. So another thing you can do, I've picked the slightly bigger ball for this, is just to work with your partner. And the aim of this game, this movement game, is to keep the ball from falling down, but
doesn't matter if it does fall, presumably.
Doesn't matter if it falls, but there has to be a certain amount of resistance, sharing and negotiating. So this might be something that you're talking about verbally with your participant. It might be something that's just happening to some music. And it will require your participant to engage with you, to be looking up, to be looking out, or to be focusing on the ball.
Yeah, I'm having to concentrate quite a lot, but it's very strange feeling, because you know what will happen if you let go, and there's this, the body just wants to participate, it wants to join in, it wants to help.
And depending on the capabilities of your participant, you could try using a different body part. Again, just be mindful of people's balance, of their capabilities, but just give it a go. You could test the waters. And again, if that participant initiates a movement, you can see how you get on with it. And if it falls, it doesn't matter at all.
If it falls, it falls. So you can be selective about the music that you use for the backing for this, but it could also be a soundscape. It could be the sound of cheering. It could be the sound of a distant football match, or some other sort of sound that's related to sport. So this is a ball, and one of the things we love to do with balls, simply throw them to one another. And in the context of a tune, a piece of music that might be happening, that might be working at this pulse, throwing the ball, throwing the ball, throwing the ball to me, to you, throwing the ball. Okay, got little rhymes, just invent some stuff, be sure of your own voice and try things out. And because this is a very rich activity, it's a very ancient activity, it goes very, very deep. People will do this for hours, or sometimes not, depending.
So predominantly we have been working with seated movement, and a lot of that comes from the upper part of our body. So any activities that we can bring into our sessions that include the legs and the feet are really useful. So we can think about asking our participants to dribble the ball, or to use the resistance of the floor. You can have slight touches to each other, little kicks. Some people can get quite competitive. You might find that people will give it a real boot. And again, just be mindful of those who, any quick, sharp movements, it might be a bit of a danger to. But if you set the scene and the tone, You can see we have some cross-lateral movement going on quite naturally here. And this, anything with the legs and the feet, especially if you're doing them at the same time, will be engaging our core muscles as well. We can also bring in our hoop. It can represent a goal or a net, so we can have a bit of basketball. Good catch.
Try again. Moving hoop.
Moving hoop, yeah.
Oh, well done. Excellent. One more go. Could be sideways. Oh, try again. Hey! Endless ball games. Fun. Oh, very nice. Put that away now. So thinking about our sports day theme and continuing with ball, you've got bouncing in time. So the pulse of the music, which might be something similar to this or something like it, aiming to kind of keep it in time. We could try that together with separate balls, trying to rock them at the same time and bounce them. We could swap round, trying to land on the beat. Boom, boom, boom. And we could just simply try dropping them on the beat. This is another nice thing to do. So the music's happening. Actually, if we try this as a thing together, we're going to try and drop it at the same time. Dum, 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 dum. Hours of endless fun bouncing balls. Again, another one of those activities that's really ingrained in us and quite it comes to us quite naturally. So a couple of shaker eggs. We're going to play shaker egg tennis. Just building on some of those ideas around call and echo, call and response, conversations. So extend the movement. That's good. We can swap hands. Again, crossing the meridian. And eventually somebody wins the point. Maybe someone wins the trophy, we don't really know. But all the time there's sound happening in the background. Okay, again, another idea associated with sport is a rhythm that most people will know. So we'll just introduce this with clapping, using our bodies to make sound and music. Here we go. And maybe try that together. Or parts of. Mess about with that kind of idea. We could take that onto sticks or beaters, and maybe I could hold my beaters up and you could play that same rhythm. Oh, and we could swap round. Play it like that. Could use our own sticks and maybe use them as scrapers. But again, in the context of the sound that's going on, we might be playing in time with the music that's happening, or we might just be doing this gentle, sort of focused, discrete activity in the midst of that sound. As long as we understand what the intention is and why we're doing it, I think that's the main thing. And having fun, of course.
So at the end of any good sporting event, we need to have a good cool down, stretch our bodies. So I'm just going to give you some examples of some seated activities that you can do. You can use this as a warm-up or a cool down. So something really nice to do in the chair is just to use the resistance of the chair and ask your participants to take hold of the chair, twist the body and have a look either behind them or to the side of them. Taking that both ways. Getting our core involved. We're just going to ask participants to rest their hands gently somewhere close to their knees, looking down, pushing slightly to come up, and you can see I'm getting my core working, my back. but it's also just really working with the capabilities of your participants. So they might really come in here, they might really push and stretch and arch if they want to, but again, we work with the body that we have in front of us. We could gently do some rotation with the head, making a circle with our nose one way and the other, looking from side to side. Shoulders, and we can take that as big or as small as we want. We can bring that into the elbow or the full arm. Again, just making sure we're covering both sides of the body. And we could ask them to see how far they want to stretch today, just by walking the hands down, coming up nice and slow. And there's just a few examples of seated stretches. This theme is a fantastic way to celebrate people's interest in sports, the sports that are going on around. Just be mindful that when we're starting to introduce maybe a little element of people being slightly competitive, sports games that people played when they were younger, if we're dealing with the elderly body, people might try and revisit some more athletic kicks or throws, and if you know that that participant just might need to be careful, or they've got the tendency to stand when actually they need a support or they need a frame, just be mindful that you're there, perhaps have an extra person if possible, just to support them with those games.
Just monitor it quite carefully, I think. And I think a lot of these activities, particularly ones associated with this theme, they are quite natural. They're built in. They're core things that we remember. And we can tend to overstretch ourselves a little bit. I think it's also really quite useful to bring it back to the breath every now and again. Okay, just take a breath and let's have a breather. Let's have a rest from the activity and just reflect a little bit and draw in some breath.